Today we have a double Oreo red velvet cake. Pull out the refrigerator a cup of buttermilk and crack yourself 2 eggs. They need to come to room temperature. Pour a half a cup of hot black coffee and set all that to the side. In a bowl, you want to add 1 cup of canola oil or vegetable oil. And then to that, we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. And once you get your 2 cups of sugar in the bowl, we're going to give that a good mix and try to get it all well combined before we move on to the next step. Once your oil and your sugar has been thoroughly mixed, and it should look like this, we're going to go ahead and add those 2 eggs. Give those a good whisk and make sure it's thoroughly combined before we go to the next step. Be sure to scrape down your bowl. Scrape the sides as well as the bottom. Add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to your buttermilk and set that to the side because we're going to use that in just a moment here. But to your egg mixture, add 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, and then to that you're going to add about 1 tablespoon of red food coloring. I like to use gel food coloring because I don't have to use that much of it. A little goes a long way with the gel. So that's what I prefer as opposed to the liquid that you buy at the store. We're going to sift together our dry ingredients. 2 cups of flour in a separate bowl. And to that you're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda along with 1 teaspoon of baking powder with 1 teaspoon of salt as well, and give those ingredients a sift. We're going to also add to that 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and give that a sift. This cake comes together really quickly. It doesn't take long at all. At this point, we're going to start alternating our buttermilk mixture with our flour mixture a little at a time. I call this a double Oreo cake because I use the regular chocolate Oreos and I use the vanilla Oreos. What's those called? Oh, they're called golden Oreos. And the crumbs on the side of the cake, that's what that is. I didn't show that on camera, so I'm just going to tell you what I did is I blend like an entire pack of the golden Oreos with like a half a pack of the chocolate ones, and then I blended those separately and mixed the crumbs together, and that's the crumbs that's on the side of the cake. So again, we're still just alternating our wet and our dry, including the last additions here. Be sure you make sure you're scraping down the bowl in between additions here. I didn't show all that, but I did do that because you got to make sure that everything, especially at the bottom of the bowl, is getting mixed in thoroughly. The last thing you want to add is that hot coffee, remember, that we set to the side earlier today. So your batter, because of that hot coffee, your batter will be thin, but that's how it's supposed to be. This recipe I got from Divas Can Cook. It's a really good recipe. It's really good. The cake is really moist. It has a lot of flavor to it. So I kind of stick with it. So you want to divide your batter up evenly into 2. I got 8-inch. You can use 8-inch or 9-inch, it don't matter. And bake it at 375 about 30 minutes. And now we're going to make the cream cheese icing. So this cream cheese icing is a traditional cream cheese icing, meaning that it's going to be fluffy, it's going to be kind of creamy, it won't be stiff. So I'll be honest with you, once I got the cake iced with this icing, because it's good, it's a very good icing. It's not terribly sweet, it's really good. But what I had left in the bowl once I iced the cake and put it all together, I will be honest with you, I did add, which I didn't show on camera, but I did add about another cup or 2 of powdered sugar and another splash of milk to make the rosettes on top of the cake just to have the icing stiff enough to pipe. So I didn't show all that, but I'm just telling you in this commentary that that's what I did. But this is how this icing will look initially. And then I'm just putting together the cake at this point. One other thing, you're going to see me fill the inside of this cake with some of the crumbs. In retrospect, I honestly should have mixed those with a little bit of icing and then filled it. But instead, I filled it and then just put some icing on top because I was in a hurry. I was in a hurry to get something. The cake had to be picked up real soon, so I was in a hurry. So I didn't do that right, but they loved the cake. They said the cake was delicious, but I should have did that. I should have did that differently. So I'm just telling you, if you ever make this cake, mix some of the crumbs with, like about a half a cup of the icing and do it that way. The result will be better. Anywho, we're just gonna ice and decorate this cake at this point. We're gonna put crumbs on the side, so you don't need nothing but like a thin layer around the side, because you're gonna put the crumbs along the side of the cake.